Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chooch Podcast. It's a light week this week. It's extremely light. I would almost go so far as to say we're recording late. We don't got much to talk about. We didn't even put out a bulletin this week. Just there was nothing to talk about. Like this week was a slow, boring, nothing week. So yeah. This is what we're doing. It's me, John. I'm here. Hello. Maverick, you're here.
Yeah, I sure am. Brother, I got a text message that I didn't realize how unprepared I was for it. So, all of us are in the process of Christmas shopping. Earlier today, I actually went ahead to do some additional Christmas shopping that I have to take care of. You know, first year that I actually have the disposable income to do it. I'm really trying to make sure that I'm like being thoughtful of everybody, especially with how like in and out I've been just in general. There is a lot that I'm putting on myself to just be like, I want to give good gifts and I want to be thoughtful in what I do. And so was already running around Manhattan, just like seeing, you know, what's around that I could probably go and pick up. I at least got something for one of my cousins, which that was what I was missing so far. Also picked up some stuff for my mom. Now it's just like, what do I get my aunt? Literally the last family member I have to think about. And there's some ideas. I've literally just been texting all over the place. So I'm already on the train back, just like, you know, did what I could today. Let me just doze off and just like hang out when I get back. I get a text message from my mom asking about one of my cousins, just like saying like, you know, what's that tattoo he has? What's his like what are the characters about? What's it from? And I remember he didn't even show me the tattoo proper, but I saw it in the corner of my eye the last time that I was hanging out with the whole family. He has a tattoo of like Lucas and Klaus from Mother 3. I think it's like the sprite of like Klaus calling over to Lucas, but yeah, just both of them are in a whole full color too. Like it's a very well done tattoo, I'll say. Yeah, it rocks. But I'm just sitting there thinking, Mom, you have not touched. The only time that you ever have to think about video game consoles is when you had to buy them for me. Right. And the last one that you bought for me was a Wii U. And even then it was kind of just like, whatever. Like, I cannot even begin to try and explain the fact that, like, well, it's this whole series, but technically it doesn't exist in the United States. It's only available in Japan. It never got released. But there's some merchandise you could look for. I eventually am just like, I'll help out where I can. I did find out that the Mother Earthbound collection, I believe from like Itoi's like actual stationery company, does sell some stuff. And so I like just sent her to the website for that. Maybe we'll see what comes up. It was just like one of those things where it's like, I cannot go into the process of explaining this right now. But
yeah, just like, I don't know. There's a layer to all this like mainstreaming of nerd shit that makes it like I really appreciate when when parents try to or other relatives try to get involved with things that their kids, their nieces, their nephews, etc., are into. And I mean, even though we're older, there still is that layer. But it's just it's so wild just, you know, having a parent come in like this is something that I have to deal with here and there at the arcade.
Like, unless
do y'all have any Demon Slayer stuff? And I'll just, you know, I have to explain like, no, we don't. And it's just like so wild just seeing this like, you know, 40-year-old mom just trying desperately to be like, my kids like this thing called Demon Slayer.
And I mean, part of it too is just the actual like engagement with it, like, because there are 40-year-olds that probably already eat it up and are like, oh yeah, I'll get something for my kid while I'm at it, like that, because they've already been in it, they've already been a part of it. But I think like my parents are like in their early 50s, and so that like they were growing up in like the 70s and 80s. So like the
Right.
video games as an industry were not even like a thing entirely. They
Yeah.
specifically think about it as like, oh, the thing that like the rich kid in the neighborhood had, and then he stopped hanging out with the rest of us. And I mean, there's definitely a loaded statement to be had there, but that's also something to consider as like the culture has evolved, and my parents
Mhm.
are also from Mexico, and so that was an entire other level of obfuscation of just like who has access to this stuff in general, and then you know going into the additional layers of a lot of what that means in terms of like socioeconomic status, where nowadays by the time that I was getting game consoles, it was at least more accessible and more like profitable to like sell something at that cycle and at that level that you often see nowadays. But just like it was one of those things where I just had to think like I can talk to you about Mario, I can explain Mario easy, but because I know that this cousin in particular has like followed a similar path to me, like, and
Mhm.
that's the other thing where I end up being sort of like not the immediate tastemaker, but just like the observer of some of this stuff. Because a lot of the gifts that I got for folks also, I literally just went to my local book off to like buy figures because I knew
Meh.
at least that would work for at least a good section between like both my sisters, my youngest cousin who like is into Pokemon and stuff. He's like in fourth grade, so it's kind of just like, yeah, give me whatever. And then that middle cousin who is sort of like not immediately a younger me, but just like is definitely in the similar sensibilities.
Mhm.
Like we share a lot, I would say, of common ground. But yeah, it just like it's rough having to recognize like I cannot go into detail about this. I kind of just have to. It was just like, is there anything? Is there anything that I could look up? And thankfully, yeah, there is
Mhm.
material. Like, if anything, it really makes me nostalgic for that early fan gamer because
Yeah.
I had a lot of those shirts. I had a lot of that
Mhm.
stuff, and I wish that like I still had it around. It like it was barely fitting me by the time that I was getting into high school, just with the way that my body was changing. But God, like PSI Rockin' is one of the best shirt designs I ever had.
Hell yeah.
It was so good. Did you ever have any of that, like, inaugural, we're still a fan of, like, this material fan gamer merch?
I still have and still regularly wear the New Pork City, like the I Heart New York parody shirt.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I still have that. It's still in like great shape and hasn't like faded at all. Like that's the thing, is like, I'll get a Yeti shirt here and there, and those are fine, but also the way they're printed is like eventually they kind of start flaking off a little bit. But the way the fan gamer prints their shirts, they are just in there. Like it is just part of the shirt.
Yeah, it
So
is
it's not gonna fade
ridiculous.
away.
I
Yeah.
remember that I think at some point my dad ended up having, like, my Mysticetti shirt, that, like, the, shirt that had, like, the, oh god, what's it? The, Skyfish from, Link's Awakening.
Hmm.
And in just like a very just like it was like an ancient like hieroglyph, and like I wore that through most of high school until it no longer was serviceable. But yeah, that was one where it's like at no point did it fade.
No.
Also had the Runaway Bros shirt.
Oh yeah.
Just god, it was like, it's weird to think that yeah, I've just been in this shit for a while now, and that I got into it at a time where it was just like, you know I feel like at some point I made fun of like Snork tees and shit or whatever. Like the shirts that you could find that are just like the very cheeky, like, oh no, it's Jason's sad that the calendar says Friday the 14th or whatever. Like kitschy shit like that. But
Yeah.
then at the same time, like if you bother to just dig a little bit deeper, you would find stuff that really like spoke to that combination of just like, inspiration, but still wanting to cultivate something in your own style. And that it's cool. Like I'm glad that there are more outlets for that now, and that it does feel, if anything, I'm thankful that even with the influx of like official sponsorships and partnerships where, the freedom of what to like create kind of had to die down, that still allows for a very unique style with official merchandise in the sea of just like Funko Pops and very easy to create merchandise. Jeers to Uniqlo, a store that I'll otherwise be very adamant about and probably is a place where I can cultivate a new style for myself. Their graphic tees are so lazy when it comes to like their partnerships, because it's kind of just like screenshots of like One Piece and Naruto.
Mm.
A lot of streetwear, honestly, is kind of in that phoning it in territory, but what are you gonna do?
There's cool stuff out there. You just gotta know where to look.
Exactly. And gift cards are still fine.
They are. Like a lot of people treat it like it's, oh, you couldn't think of it. No, you know what? Sometimes it's just nice. It's nice that someone thought of you in a way that's like, here, I know you, that you will enjoy the hunt. You will enjoy going in there and finding something too. Like
Exactly.
that's part
Let
of it.
me give you the gift of finding that thing that you don't know you want yet.
Yeah. Have fun. Have a little fun. I dig it. I dig it. Yeah, I had to work a convention this weekend. I guess I could talk about my experience here. Again, work at the arcade. We rented out a booth at a teeny tiny convention. I had actually done this previously, like earlier this year.
Oh, the same
in the
convention?
summer. I'm sorry?
Same convention or just like same process?
No, different con. Different con, same process. First con was like a pretty, like, I wouldn't say like huge, but like it was well attended, well structured, a lot of people, a lot of things to do, a lot of vendors. It was a convention. This one had nothing going on. There was nothing planned, like no events. There was going to be like a Smash Bros tournament one morning, and I think people just did that and left. Apparently there was some sort of K-pop meetup, and that was so again, I don't say this to disparage K-pop folks, but it was so bizarre because it was absolutely the best like structured thing there, but all of it was outside for like no reason. They just like had an area out on like a balcony where they were all just like dancing and listening to music and doing quizzes and stuff. Meanwhile, the rest of the place is just empty. There's just nobody here. I'm sitting there. I probably handed out stuff to like 45 people max the entire weekend. We were supposed to be there 3 days. On tonight, my manager just shows up and goes, "Yeah, we're not doing it tomorrow. There's nothing." There's a collectibles store that is like owned by the same people that own the arcade, and they were like, they were open. They were selling stuff at a booth next to us. Guy said that he probably made like $150 the entire weekend, like, and if you think about like collectibles, it means he probably sold like 2 or 3 things, like that's crazy. There was nobody there. It was mostly a lot of little kids for some reason.
Huh.
Like, I don't know who they were marketing it to, because I mean, if it was supposed to be like a kids convention, that could be something you could do, but it wasn't like set up like that. It wasn't like, here's a bunch of stuff that kids would like. There was just like a bunch of random shit. There was like a wood carving uh booth where it was just like a bunch of people who like cut out like knives and guns that were like from stuff. Like, here's a wooden replica of one of the knives from Apex Legends or whatever the fuck. Like, it was that kind of shit.
Right.
And there was, I felt so bad. There was some girl there who I think was like a cosplayer personality of some sort, and I just felt so bad because nobody came up to her, and I felt really bad, especially because I was just like, I don't really know what your like thing is. Like, she just like had like a blue wig on and said that she liked Sonic the Hedgehog, and that was it. And I was just like, I don't know what you're like doing.
This sounds like people that ran a convention for the sake of hoping that people would come by excited that there was a convention in their area.
Yeah.
And that's always going to be rough because, like, the heart of it is people willing to go and, like, converse, communicate, really just learn with one another about whatever it is that they share an interest in.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I don't blame folks for trying, but at the same time, it didn't really feel like it had a like a personality to it.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing. It sounds like there was not as much trying as, there could have been, so to say.
Yeah.
Because, like, that sounds more like trying to set up, like, a market. And you can do that, that's fine, but you kind of just have to, like, know where exactly to congregate. And
you gotta make it act like a market. Like, yeah, I've seen just like straight up like, hey, this is just like a nerd market kind of thing. Like, here's all I've seen that happen and I've seen that be successful, but
yeah,
that wasn't what this was. It was just no.
I mean, trying to do a convention while necessarily needing people to buy stuff, and people at convention like, will buy things, but it also necessitates like just a little bit more focus in what that's going to be. Or at least knowing that, like, oh, I'm going to go hang out and stuff, but let me have some money in case, because I know so and so is going to be here, and I can, like, pick up a print from an artist that I really like, or check out any of the local vendors and see what they have that I could just, like, pick up on the side.
I was upset because I was not planning on like, oh, I'm gonna blow a bunch of money, I'm gonna spend some money this weekend, but like, I was like, if there's some games here, I might pick up one or two things. But there was one game vendor, and all the games that I would have wanted, there were like a handful of PS2 games where I was like, yeah, these are like $10, $15 PS2 games that, I'll just pick them up here. Don't gotta worry about like shipping or whatever. They were all covered in friggin' doo-doo brown. Like, it was foul as hell. I didn't want to touch them. I was like, dude, these cases are like caca poo poo fecal matter all over the fucking place. I don't want to do that.
I need you to get I wish you would have gotten a picture of that, because I like just like a veneer of like dookie brown.
I mean, it didn't, like, I don't think it was actually like, oh, hey, someone took a dump on this, like, I don't think that's truly what occurred like, here.
Very grimy cases.
Grimy, and like there was brown on there. Like, there was like there was like, I think it was just like super old like sticker residue that must have just gotten really dirty, like,
yeah, but usually
that kind of stuff.
Usually it's like, it stays more to like a gray or like a black. What's making it go brown? Like, my only thought is like,
I don't know.
Blood?
I don't know. I mean, like maybe some kind of dirt, like maybe some kind of like really brown ass like sand or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was poop. I don't know. Maybe someone did in fact put a little poop on their copy of Maximo for PS2. I hope not.
A little keepsake to remember me by.
You know, they were inspired by old James Rolfe and how he treated Bugs Bunny. You know, they just dropped a big old steamy log on their fucking copy of Tekken 4, and that was it. Yeah, I mean, I was ready. I was ready to go to town, and or not to go to town personally, but just like, you know, I was ready to drop maybe like $30 this weekend, and then no, I didn't do it. Damn shame.
A damn shame.
A damn shame. Like just get new cases. Like order some new cases. I don't know how much they are. I mean, I guess I could have bought it and got new cases, but like I would have wanted that. I would have wanted to like pay less for that then, you know, because then I'm getting money involved. You know, I'm not a business. Like if I had a game business like this, if I was running a game shop, I would just be like, okay, I'm gonna buy some extra cases just so I can throw out the caca poo poo ones and replace them, and so that way I can sell the games for a normal price and I feel bad about it. You know, like just have extra cases if you're doing this kind of thing. That's what I think. Just my opinion. But yeah, um, that's what I was up to this weekend. Other than that, though, we've been playing some games. There has been like zero news this week. I guess we do. You, let's talk about what we've been playing first, because that is more of something.
All right.
Maverick, what have you been up to? I think you were like playing stuff right as we started.
Oh yeah, no, like I've just been getting through more God of War Ragnarok. I'm about 50 hours in, and that is from me looking into side quests and like just additional content. When I talked about it with a friend who had already gone through it, I mentioned where I was at, a very like particular like story beat, and he's like, "Oh, you're basically near the end game," and it feels like it's getting there. It feels like there is something on the horizon because I think like a lot of this game focuses on just like there are a lot of things it's focusing on. One of which is, you know, the idea of fate and what exactly that means for someone who maybe is not so certain about like the things that are expected as is like foretold, but then like this idea of wanting to create your own narrative. It is this concept of fate really like there, and where things are going to now, it's sort of like this idea, you know, or there is a cycle of sort of just like things playing out as prophesized by like the giants of Jotunheim, who, you know, in mythology are very like known for their perception of time as like non-linear, so to say. There's a lot. If there's anything I've learned, Norse mythology is fucking nutty. Like, what do you mean that there are 9 realms, bro? That's like a bunch of them. But
a lot of realms.
That's at least 3 more than Inferno, Paradiso, and Purgatorio. But no, it's just been like interesting to see, you know, a game really. I think a lot of the criticisms that God of War 2018 like have been brought up in Ragnarok in a way, and the thing that I've definitely appreciated is that it's less the sad dad game and more just like I feel like I've touched on this before, but it's just like, you know, people learning how to just connect with one another and like creating community in the face of adversity. And you get a lot of different moments with that. There was a moment that Kratos had with like another character that was so just like warm in a way that I definitely did not anticipate, just with the level of understanding with like this situation. And I'm not getting to spoilers right now just because it is like a very particular thing, but it's like it's one of those moments where it's like, you have the gruff low voice like, boy, I'm going to do this, or what. Like, that level of gravity works here because it's just like, you don't need to speak more than what you're going to. You're doing the thing that is going to help this character out and be like, yeah, this is us learning through and like showing some growth. And like, I just dig that there is a lot of thought into what these characters are and like how something as big as the end of the world affects each and every one of them in different ways, while not necessarily having a like nihilistic viewpoint on any of that. And I appreciate that. It, for a game that's about the end of the world, as prophesized by an entire group of people, it still manages to be optimistic in a very particular way. And it really, the biggest thing that helps out is having the switching viewpoints between Kratos and Atreus. It's something that happens pretty early on and then is a consistent factor for parts of the story. And it helps to just sort of like, again, moving the camera away from just the one insular viewpoint helps to make the story feel a lot more complete, denser, and just provides more of a lens on what's exactly going on, since, it's famously a particular camera angle that we take part of for most of the game. And yeah, now I've just been like trying to finish up some side quests, doing just some of the more difficult boss fights that are around before getting to the final battles and stuff, and just been enjoying my time.
That's good. Good. Yeah, I'm glad that it really does seem like that over time they have filled more and more into they filled those shoes a bit better as time has gone on.
It's also just really funny in part. Yeah. There's a moment where you'll be off in like the overworld for one of the realms, and there's just dialogue between people, and there's a moment where it's like, they talk about a character's like Stu. He made Stu for the group, and Mimir, the guy that you have on your waist, is just like, man, that Stu, it's got me just thinking about like the food from my old country or whatever. He's like talking about haggis, bean pudding, because the joke is that he's like, I believe, like a satyr from like English mythology who somehow like wound up here. But yeah, talking about that, another character is talking about like, their own like interests, and then Mimir's just like, what about you, brother? What do you like miss the most pre-Fimbulwinter? And Kratos is just like, olives. And then followed by, the hell's an olive? It's pretty stupid good. Little stuff like that. Like Atreus is starting to smell, and Kratos is just like, it's not a bad thing. But like, they lean into the stoicness of Kratos in a way that helps really land some of those punchlines. In parts of the story, Atreus is in situations where he's talking to girls and he's thinking like, oh man, there's definitely stuff here. And I think Kratos at one point is just like, if you need to talk about it, I'm here. Like, just it's good when you have to. It's the Arnold Schwarzenegger effect, where we've had the time with like this character as the action star, pulse pounding, like so, like in your face, aggressive. Now we're starting to lean into like twins, kindergarten cop. Not fully, mind you, but
would you say this is more the Terminator 2 sort of thing, perhaps?
I would say so. Like, where if 2018 was like the proof of concept, and it also doing the job of just trying to say like, we're different from the first 3 games. We're so different from the
Right,
first.
right.
If anything, this one is more than eager to like go back and say, oh yes, when I was in Greece, we did this. I knew about my brother, and this is the experience I had with my brother. This is the loss that I feel still from my like. Kratos actively talking about like, yeah, I still feel regret from what I did to my family. I did what I had to, but I'm not a fan of the fact that it led to me having to escape a fucked up Greece where everyone is basically dead, as far as I know. Like, willingness to talk about the past games so that you actually recognize that they exist. And that really helps. It really helps to sell this idea of wanting to be better than the person you were prior to whatever circumstances make you want to do better. And there are more than enough equivalents. I just got through a main story part where, oh boy, turns out that there's another level of working through generational trauma and trying to be better than you were before. And it's interesting. I still do not know how it's going to end. Sure, it's not going to be great for a majority of people, but it's got me hooked.
All right, well, I'm definitely glad to hear that that's all shaken out pretty good. Nice. Let's see here. So, folks, I did it. I beat Xenoblade 3.
Finally.
It happened. It took... I mean, my in-game time was like 150 something hours. Probably actually less than that because I was, just, I'd have to get up and like go to the bathroom and like make dinner. Like I would just make dinner. I would be in the middle of like playing and I would just be like, all right, I'm just gonna go cook. I'm in the middle of a fight, and let it go. And like the fight would go through, but then I would have to come back when it was already done and start playing again. I don't know. There's a lot I could say, but I feel like I've said so much.
Are you still like processing a lot of 3 so far, or do you feel like you're in a good spot with it?
I mean, yeah, I definitely feel like because I've been processing the bigger stuff for a good long while, and the last bit was just we're fighting the final boss. Like that was basically like what I had to do before I left it off. I was just like, was right there, but I was finishing up all the little side quests, and it's just Xenoblade 3 is just this. It's this monumental work of balancing a world, creating something that feels truly lived in, and making all of your actions mean something, even if initially they don't feel like they do. Like, they set up so many character interactions just through these little things. Like, for example, one of the like overarching stories is the colony that Noah and his friends are from, Colony 9. Once they get cut off from the castle, they have food problems. Like they're just like, yeah, we're not getting, like, we were already low on food because we were like kind of a low rank colony, but now that the castle isn't sending us anything anymore, we have to figure this out. So they try to farm, and there's just multiple missions of you trying to help them start up a farm. Like they set up a farm in one area and it just completely flops, and they're all worried that they're all going to starve. They try it again in another area. There's all these parts where you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I fertilize? How do I do this? And finally, you hook up with another colony that is successful at farming. Like they are specifically like, oh yeah, we're like the specialists at farming. And so they introduce you to basically like the in-universe version of potatoes. And it's just like, yeah, like they're hardy, they're easy to grow. This will be a good, like, healthy, simple crop for you to get in on, so that way you can learn how to grow it. And there's just all these layers of then, Colony 9 working with them to get their crops better. And then once Colony 9 becomes super obsessed with the potatoes, then like other colonies want to like get in on making potatoes from them. And it just, every interaction, no matter how small or silly, just blossoms into these other interactions between all the different colonies. You'll bring one character like into another colony and they'll get interested and want to work with them. There's, rivalries between some colonies, and it's all just born out of this like them separating themselves from the war, from the constant need to do battle. It immediately opens them up to working together, and it's just so inspiring. It just like the game definitely has a thesis statement of, if we weren't being forced by those quote unquote in control, we would absolutely be ready to just work together. Like it would be so much easier for all of us to just help each other and teach us what we don't know and share our resources. And like that's so cool. That's just so cool that like such a big open world AAA game is like saying something so like super neat like that.
Yeah, dude, I will always be down for a JRPG whose ethos is, the unity and cooperation from multiple individuals is what leads to growth and change. It's what makes Berseria such a fun game for me. It's what makes a lot of the Trail series fun for me. Gotta love it.
Good stuff. I mean, like the combat is still really great. It's still just fantastic writing. All the characters are great. One of the characters gets cucked so hard that he goes insane. Fantastic. Just
all
great,
the classics are here.
One of the classics of characters. One of the classics of games.
God, I mean, now that you have so much free time with Xenoblade 3 done, have you taken the chance to start anything else up?
I sure did. I've been playing Xenoblade 3 so long that I am now just getting around to playing AI Nirvana Initiative.
All right.
I have had that special edition, in my home since around when it came out, but now I'm actually playing it. And hey, it's more of that. It's more AI. The dialogue is still really funny. They're still throwing in a bunch of like crazy off the wall scientific concepts at me. Like one of the main thrusts behind this game is simulation theory and how we can all exist in a simulation, but
so I gotta ask, how long do you have to stay inside the Somnium?
6 minutes.
That's fucking right.
And the time goes down while you're moving and performing actions. So they did make the Somniums a bit more palatable. They're a lot more just straight and to the point, which some might say is a bit frustrating because like you want to see all the goofy stuff you can do. But a lot of the stuff to do other like extra like goofy things, those are usually like to go find the eyeballs around the areas, which in the first game I think there was only like 1 or 2 per stage, and in here it's like 5 per stage. And they're just a little like, it's for an in-game achievement where you find all the collectibles basically, but also there's a mode where there's pretty much 2 Tamagotchis in this game. Because one of the characters in this, like the new AI ball who isn't Aiba, her name is Tama, And I think they just went, oh, her name's Tama. Wouldn't it be funny if there was a Tamagotchi? Wouldn't it be funny if there were 2 Tamagotchis? Because one of them is just actually a Tamagotchi, where every 20 real life minutes, a little notification comes up and asks you a question, and depending on how you answer the questions, it evolves into different little, like, Aibas that are based on all the different characters. But then there's also, like, another thing where, depending on if you're Mizuki, who has Aiba, or Ryuki, who has Tama, they just, like, sit there, and you can ask them for life advice, or dress them up in stupid outfits. And it's really dumb, but very funny. Just, yeah, because sometimes you'll just go into the menu, and they'll just, and a little pop-up will come up and just be like, geez, don't you have any questions? Like, they just want you to, like, ask them, like, hey, you want Aiba to tell you that it's okay if your job is hard. Maybe you should try applying for work at home. Like, it's just that perfect amount of bizarre that you expect from an Uchikoshi game. But the Somniums, yeah, I completely went off track. The Somniums are a lot more, like, straight and to the point, but they have those eyeballs for you to pick up, and yeah, the eyeballs you'll get, like, currency to buy new outfits. That's where I was going. And yeah, those little, like, branching paths are aren't really something that they kind of expect you to do in the first run, because now, once you've cleared a Somnium, you can just go back with unlimited time. So you can get anything that you missed, you can get all the wacky interactions that you missed, you don't have to worry about, like, having to look those up on YouTube or whatever. It's all there. Which I think is just a nice little bonus. Like, sure, yeah, they're still not perfect. Like, I had to redo a Somnium earlier today because I didn't, like, immediately figure out the puzzles. So I wasted time, and then I ended up, just because the game just, just because right at the end it's just like, oh yeah, you have to, like, swim through this very long hallway, basically. And that just ate up all the time at the end. So I had to basically go back and then do all the puzzles perfectly because I knew the answers now, so that way I had enough time to actually finish it. It's like, that's lame, but it's not killing anything. It's just like, whatever, it's fine. I'm through with it. I'm ready to go to the next part. I'm interested in how this all shakes out. It's more AI. Like, if you liked that first one, you already bought this game. Like,
so
I'm not gonna, yeah.
So that's actually interesting. I have a friend who I will lovingly call a AI Somnium Files freak, just fully cracked on this series. Like, full on. I don't know if you've seen any work from one Charlahan out there for AI art, a lot of Ibatama art, but
maybe,
yeah, no, she's great. I'll be, as of recording this podcast, I'll be back probably to annoy her as she does her Pokemon live stream to raise some funds for moving. But I make this point if only because, like, it's interesting to see someone go through the process of playing, replaying, and just getting really in depth to this game, because it's easy to just call it a sequel from what I hear, but at the same time, it's more so doing just like a separate installment of the Somnium Files. Because, I mean, as you say, it is a story split between new characters Ryuki and Tama, and returning characters Mizuki and Aiba. No Date. And a lot of people, understandably, I would say, were upset by that. And apparently a lot of people were not really digging what Nirvana Initiative had to offer. Not in a way that, like, detracts from what necessarily is there. More so just, realizing that what people wanted out of AI Somnium Files 2 is not necessarily what's there in Nirvana Initiative. But that said, there's also that push to sort of like have Nirvana Initiative as this individual entry point. Like, there's an option in the beginning that you can basically like do a spoiler toggle, I believe, where it's like a quiz show.
Oh, it's very dumb. Yeah, at the beginning of the game, they straight up just ask you like who was the perpetrator in the first game, and like, you know, just like one other like tiny detail thing. Basically, it was one of those things where it was like I finished the first one earlier this year, and I didn't remember like whatever detail it was. I had to look it up, but like still, yeah, like there is a spoiler toggle. But even then, like the way that the game is, like there's multiple scenes where basically like, you know, you're gonna know what I'm talking about if you have finished the first game, and you're not gonna know what I'm talking about if you haven't. So this is a spoiler, but with no context.
Exactly.
There is straight up. I mean, there's straight up a part. Yeah. There's straight up a part where you ask a character, why aren't you in prison? And they basically just go, don't worry about it. And it's just like, all right, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter because it doesn't matter, you know? Like, it's fine. This world is stupid. They brought all the characters back because they were just like, yeah, we know you're going to want to see these characters. It's fine. Who cares? It's not like there's really that big of a deal anyway. It's fine.
Exactly.
Let's just move on.
Yeah, at some point I gotta actually get through Somnium Files 1.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm digging into it here and there. It's real goofy, you know. It's going so far.
Hell yeah. Maybe it won't be as long as Xenoblade 3.
I highly doubt it, but I mean, here's the thing. Like, I legitimately think Xenoblade 3 has like warped my perception of time, because I think I'm probably like 4 or 5 hours into this game, and I'm just like, wow, this game is moving so fast. What the hell? And it's just like, no, it's just going at a normal speed. You just haven't played a game that's been at a normal speed in an entire year. I'm legitimately not used to like feeling like I'm just like, oh man, if this doesn't take like 70 hours, what is going on? The story is so fast. I'm gonna go to a movie and just be like, whoa, who put this in fast forward? Come on.
You're gonna go see RRR and you're gonna be like, hold up, I need you to slow down.
Yeah. Oof.
Gonna go watch The Irishman and be like, wait, isn't there more?
Yeah, come on. Is this just like the first half? Did the rest not load? No. Yeah. I need to readjust to like normal human time.
Well, it's hard because like in the Somnium, you only have 6 minutes.
Yeah, I've only got 6 minutes to play through the last boss of Xenoblade 3, which no, you can't do that. That's like a 45-minute long fight. Oh boy. All right, let's go over news here. So, again, not a lot of news. Let's just go through here. So first off, we got the kind of sort of not kind of sort of. We got the serious bit of news here, where Congress has written a letter to multiple game publishers, including Microsoft and Sony, as well as Activision, EA, Riot, Square, etc., etc., etc. Asking them what they are planning to do about or not what they're planning to do and what they are currently doing to fight any form of extremist ideology that has been fostered in multiplayer games. Seems like, yeah, they've specifically mentioned Fortnite and Roblox, Apex, and Madden. Let me see if they got some exact quotes here. Lawmakers are asking the companies about the data they collect on in-game player reporting mechanisms and automatic bans for inappropriate behavior, and releasing that data in regular transparency reportings. They also ask the companies how they identify extremist content in their games and whether they have policies to address it. So the Anti Defamation League is pushing these reports here, and they said that so far the only one of these companies that they have interviewed who has an extremely explicit public facing policy against extremism is Roblox, which they've apparently recently done that because there were some there was a mass murder this May where the perpetrator claimed that they were radicalized on Roblox in a game mode called Blood and Iron, which is a Napoleonic War game in Roblox. Which, that just hearing a Napoleonic Roblox game is kind of bizarre in of itself. But it seems like other companies are going to be joining in on this because Microsoft actually published an online moderation report last month. So this push seems to be, making these folks change their ways in at the very least, making their making these things more public. I'm sure that they are doing, this work behind the scenes, and I couldn't tell you how good it is, but I'm sure that they do have people like no matter how good or bad they are at it, they at least have someone working on it. So hopefully, this being more front facing will help make it better. Because if they have to showcase these things, and people can very obviously see, hey, y'all suck at this. What are you doing? they will have to change.
Man, I hear this and I feel like it is still, even with the targeted approach of extremism and because what was it? Yeah, estimated 2.3 million teens were exposed to white supremacist ideology in online video games spanning Fortnite, Roblox, Apex Legends, and the Madden NFL series. So when I hear that, it's not necessarily the content of the game itself. I'm thinking about content moderation, and specifically player-to-player moderation, because that's where it comes up. It's less the material, okay, sure, why is this kid playing a game that focuses on the Napoleonic Wars, a recreation of Napoleonic Wars, and features the words of Otto von Bismarck in the middle of all that setup? Who was he talking to during that? Who are the people that he was engaged with during sessions of playing that multiplayer online game? That is where the actual ideology starts to spread. Not to say that, you don't need the actual moderation of extremism and white supremacist ideology. That is still good to include, and it at least, I hope, would lead to more, open-ended conceptions of what's going on. Because, bringing it back to God of War, a game that is so heavily rooted in Norse mythology that is also, to an extent, co-opted by neo-Nazi organizations. It's good to say that, there is a considerable... Well, no. There is the effort to make sure that characters are not just the standard, Aryan conceptualization of what these characters should be. There are characters that are black. There are characters that are not just blonde hair, blue eyes. Multiple sizes are incorporated. Even when it's not outwardly trying to talk about that, or the presentation of its characters, the inherent nature to say, hey, let's provide variance within our cast, that helps for something that is, like, again, so very easily uprooted by white supremacist ideology. The fact that, like, the Thor in this game is, like, heavy. He's fat, but that doesn't mean he's any less of a fucking threat. You know, it dings the right heads, or at the very least, people that are like, oh yeah, cool, that rules. And so, I don't know. I feel like I hope that this does lead to more conversation about how the spread of white supremacist ideology comes up, but the part that's missing is basically targeting the actual spaces in which white supremacist ideology comes up. And it's not just, oh, moderate what the content is in the game. It's, what are people saying to one another? Because then, you
have to not to make excuses for the people working there, but at the same time, like, you have to, like, actually, like, point the finger at the people that are doing the bad thing more than the people that are just trying to clean it up. You have to get at the heart of the matter, because like, no matter how good of a cleanup job you're doing, if you've got sewage spewing out from somewhere, you can have all the janitors in the world come up and clean it up, but it's still spewing out of that pipe. You got to close that pipe.
I'm sorry. Wait. Yeah. No. I'm just I'm just now processing the fact that there is, like, people that are being exposed to white supremacist ideology through Apex, the game that is so outwardly, like, involving a cast of, like, people of color.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's, not to, like, kiss its ass or anything, but, like, yeah, Apex is, like, probably the most progressive, like, AAA game I could think of off the top of my head. Like, they have been pretty open about having characters that are of different races, of different sexualities, of different genders, and, like, have been pretty, like, loud and proud about it. And so, yeah, nobody's getting white supremacist rhetoric from the game. Yeah,
you're right.
Like, quite the opposite.
And then also that, like, language of what is it? Into how extremists use online gaming spaces to radicalize young people. I feel like that is just vague enough to also provide criticism of leftist ideology and the way that leftist spaces crop up in video games, which, again, is not the enemy, but if you're gonna, like, broadly touch on extremism, then the question comes up to, are we specifically labeling neo-Nazism, white supremacy, and bigotry in that aspect? Or are we casting the net wide enough so that anything just out of left of center also gets caught in the crosshair?
Yeah. And I'd hope not.
I would hope not, but also, what is the government if not Democrats and Republicans?
Exactly, yeah. I guess we'll see, but I mean, this does specifically mention, like, white supremacist stuff, and it's through the Anti-Defamation League, which, from what I can gather, has a good track record. Like, I know the government itself sure doesn't, but, like, the ADL seems to, from what I've seen.
Yeah. I'm also looking at the comments, and apparently there's another completely separate situation where a senator from New Hampshire has sent Valve a letter regarding the amount of white supremacist imagery in its user-generated content and community spaces.
Yeah, I will say that is definitely something that Valve specifically should be taking more into account, because, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just, not to downplay any white supremacist stuff, but yeah, just any kind of just shitty, hateful content that you go on to, like, like, yeah, like I'll be looking at like 100% orange juice like mods or whatever, and there's just all kinds of crap on there sometimes. And I'm sure that the devs don't want that like horrible stuff in there, like, and I do think that stuff gets cleaned up here and there, but I don't know. I mean, if you're like a smaller dev trying to do Steam Workshop stuff, I'm sure you don't have like all the time in the world to be checking that constantly to make sure that nobody's updating like replace this character with Hitler or whatever, like it's unreasonable for the smaller devs to do that. I mean, they mentioned like the Among Us folks, and I think they were involved here, and like I feel like probably at this point they have probably got enough people to be taking care of that sort of thing. But man, when Among Us first blew up, I couldn't imagine that they would have the resources to keep up with that kind of shit. Like hell no, they were a small dev. And I mean, I don't know for sure if they are like staffed enough to do that kind of stuff. Like that's still got to be like a long process of being like, yeah, we brought on enough people to help moderate what goes on in Among Us servers. Like, yeah, like how are you supposed to do that as like a company that like 3 years ago was, I think, like 5 people. Like that's crazy. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I just hope that they, that this is a process, and I hope that they continue to understand that it's a process, and I hope that it's not just pointing fingers and leaving it there. I hope that there will be like conversations and steps taken and things done continuously to make this better for everyone, save for those who are perpetrating these shitty things. Like,
yeah,
just,
I mean, end of the day, it also comes from home. Like, if you find yourself in a space where, in whatever like games related community you are a part of, it is not your immediate job to be a mentor, but I would say there is a responsibility to provide guidance as applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can say that a bit easier as someone whose job who has often only known the job of become some sort of a role model or example for like younger folk. But it's not even just like, oh, I got to teach you the right thing every single time, but more so just having people that are around you that make you want to do better is sometimes that, because kids will think anything's cool. Like,
yeah,
you just gotta take advantage of that in a way that'll help them learn that, oh, what is cool? Being there for people, supporting other people, not being a Nazi, kicking Nazis even.
Yeah.
We've all got a stake in it.
Yeah. So it's all a process. Right. So next up here, let me see here. Here, I'll do the small. I don't know why I put this one under bigs, because this isn't a big one really. It's interesting, but it's not huge, or at least I felt like it wasn't huge. So okay, the newest episode of the Pokemon anime came out like a day or two ago. And Ash is not gonna be the main character of the next series. This was just confirmed. At the end of the episode, they're gonna do one final like arc of stories that are basically it's gonna just wrap up Ash's adventures. I guess it's just gonna be like going around saying hey to everybody one last time. I don't know exactly how it'll shake down, but we'll see. But after that, they are introducing 2 new characters for a brand new show, and their names are Liko and Roy. It's a girl and a boy, and they have the starters from Gen 9. So we got Sprigatito, Quaxley, and Fuecoco. And the trailer didn't really show too much else beyond that, but they did show a shiny Rayquaza, which was pretty sick, you know? Like, I was like, oh shit, there's that cool-ass black Rayquaza. Very cool. No other real big information, just says that they are unraveling the mysteries of the Pokemon world, from trainer battles to fun Pokemon encounters. And it'll start next year sometime. So yeah, they're finally retiring Ash. This has been like 25 years almost or something like that. Yeah, 25 years. They're finally retiring the character. Pretty fucking crazy. I'm I was a little surprised, but not too surprised, but I was just like, wow, that's pretty crazy. The amount of like reaction that I saw that was just full on like, wow, I'm crying, wow, this is like affecting me a whole lot, wow, I can't, like, I'm a little surprised about that. Like, I don't know, I've always, I know this is hater, this is a bit haterific of me, but like, I always felt like the episodes of that show that were like focused on Ash were usually the weaker episodes, just because I didn't really dig how they treated Ash battling. Just in that he usually has to like do like around the bend tactics to win, and like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when it always feels like your main hero is having to come up with stuff to win when like everyone else has just like is able to win or lose based on their skill, it always just made it a little less interesting to me, where I was just like, yeah, like he's only gonna pull this off because he's gonna like pull a Pikachu, use Thunder Shock on the sprinklers, like that kind of shit. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just like, if the rest of the show just made it feel a little bit more like understandable, or I guess like that's like an option that other people could use, I guess I would feel better about it. And so that's why I kind of didn't really dig a lot of the Ash stuff. But then the other characters usually had like way more interesting concepts. They explored the world of Pokemon in ways that weren't just battling. And that I thought was way more interesting to watch, especially because, like, yeah, I get my fill of going through the Pokemon world by playing the games. Like, it's more interesting to have an adventure that is something beyond what you can experience in the games. But that might just be me. I'm not gonna say like, oh, you're wrong if you like the show, if you like the battles. That's just my opinion, but I was still kind of surprised to see people be like, oh shit.
No, I mean, I get, like, I would say it's less the intrinsic character of Ash himself and more so just the idea that, like, oh god, yeah, I've seen this guy in and out of, like, this franchise for 25 years now.
Yeah.
Like, truthfully, if they, just had it as if they had this character just cover the, initial Kanto region, yeah, and then, like, would go on to cover, like, other characters throughout each, like, iteration of the show, like, this wouldn't even be news. This would just be whatever. But, to have this, like, collective avatar for, like, okay, yes, I can play the games, but what if I, like, had this, my rambunctious child self, like, in the world of Pokemon? And I think that's where it's childish in a way, but also at the same time, it's like, I probably would have been the kid that's like, why can't Pikachu just do this? Or, like, why can't I, like, just use like, if I were in the Pokemon world, I would simply use my surroundings in order to win the competition.
Yeah.
In that way where it's like, oh yeah, there's definitely some lateral thinking puzzles at play if you're trying to figure out the logic of a Pokemon battle early on, but then by the end of it, yeah, it's this, it sort of became this ongoing story of, like, he can just get close enough, but he's never there yet, and so he has to keep trying and keep trying, and I think in like a retroactive sense, that does become more like resonant with people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're gonna see those Butterfree again. We're gonna see. It seems like Brock and Misty are gonna be like some of the main companions. I'm sure that it'll be a whole tour through all of the regions thus far.
Yeah, it's
There might be something about the fucking the Latias from Pokemon Heroes that like there might be some lead up again on that, which is going to be wild.
That is going to be weird. It's going to be interesting for sure. God. Well, I did kind of completely tune out for a while there, but maybe I'll hop back on to see Ash out. I'm gonna like. You're right. Yeah, this is like if all of a sudden they're just like, well, Goku's gone from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, and I mean they
that would be
tried
crazy,
that
yeah.
before, but
yeah.
then immediately people are like, "Oh no, like that's like we love him too much to do that." But in this case, it's wrapped around, I think, where people are like,
it.
Well, yeah, no, it's now been longer enough that it's like, yeah, I'm going to be sad, but also, this is a particular version of the thing that I like where it's fine that ultimately this is happening.
All right. Well, let's see your last bit of news here, and then we'll hear out the rest of what's been up with you here. John Carmack has left Meta VR, and he left a big ol' exit memo where he basically just said these people are fucking morons. I'll take some snippets here from the memo here. He said, "This is the end of my decade in VR. I have mixed feelings. Quest 2 is almost exactly what I wanted to see from the beginning. Mobile hardware, inside-out tracking, optional PC streaming, 4K-ish screen, cost-effective. Blah, blah, blah. The issue is our efficiency. Some will ask why I care how the progress is happening, as long as it is happening. If I'm trying to sway others, I would say that an organization that has only known inefficiency is ill-prepared for the inevitable competition and or belt-tightening. But really, it is the more personal pain of seeing a 5% GPU utilization number in production. I am offended by it." Some other things here. He said, "We have a ridiculous amount of people and resources, but we constantly self-sabotage and squander effort. There's no way to sugarcoat this. I think our organization is operating at half the effectiveness that would make me happy. I've never been able to kill stupid things before they cause damage, or set a direction and have the team actually stick to it." So yeah, I mean, it just sounds like it's exactly what you would expect from how Meta is going, how everything's been said to be happening, how Mark Zuckerberg is like just running that company.
Fucking, like, I know so little about John Carmack, but the fact that this was enough of a thing to make him go like, fuck this, I'm gonna go make real AI, deep learning, artificial intelligence as like a response to just a shitty experience at Meta.
Yeah.
But hey, good on him for just being able to say, oh, this sucks.
It's a mess of an existence, it seems like, and we'll see how it shakes out, I suppose. We'll see where he goes.
Best of luck to you, Mr. Carmack.
Yeah, whatever the goddamn hell you do next. So Maverick, let's wrap this up and tell us what else you've been playing.
So this was something that I definitely wouldn't have expected, and I'm just really lucky that I got to be a part of it. I am in the Street Fighter 6 beta for this next setup, and I have not been getting it as much as I want, if only because like I've been busy the last few days. God of War's taken a bunch of my time, but yesterday I did take the chance to, log in, set up my character. The actual like features for character customization, you have seen the beautiful monsters that people have ended up creating down the line, but overall, like, it is a pretty like cohesive character creation system. I feel like I was able to make a facsimile of myself that wasn't like too out of depth. And that's actually pretty surprising nowadays, just with the way that like a lot of this tech ends up like presenting itself. And it's just nice that I can take the time and just sort of go like, yeah, let's make me, because oftentimes it's so rare, at least from the perspective of people of color, to really just have a character that is you in the video game. But really good job. And then the actual gameplay itself, this is a pretty good fighting game, let me tell you. Like,
yeah.
So in this setup, you are basically only allowed to go into the battle hub, which is a series of like cabinets that you can like sit at and queue up for any fights against like player characters, or you can actually just like go into training mode while you wait and just like figure out combos and just work on your fundamentals that way. Mm-hmm. There are a section of cabinets that are like squared out specifically for you to play like classic Capcom like side scrollers or other arcade games. That's a really fun idea. And then there are other features, but I really haven't gotten the chance to like see all of them yet. Some of them I'm sure are still getting worked on, but overall the game itself feels really good. The option to switch between the modern style, which like pares down a lot of what you're working with so that you have a bit more of a like simplified game style, maybe if you're new to fighting games entirely or need something that's a little bit more accommodating. It's there, it works, it's fine, but I immediately had to switch to classic mode because I'm just like, I want to learn how to actually like play these characters and get a sense for what I'm doing. And when you have a fighting game that feels good even when you're losing, that is a really good testament to what you're doing. And
yeah,
because that's just what I was, that's just the position I was in. Like, I picked Ken. I'm like, let me figure out Ken. I like his look. Let me just get started. That starting to at least feel out like, okay, what do my, what does my foot to game look like? What kind of like distancing can I figure out? Am I able to like really get some combos started? Can I at least make sure I get the inputs in for my specials and whatnot? And that limited amount of like access to the character that I play is at least enough where it's like, I won a few matches against people that maybe knew less what they were doing. But then, the highlight so far was I went nothing to 10 against a Guile player, and the best thing I got out of that was just learning how to actually go up against that character and say like, all right, what am I learning this time? What am I picking up as I go about like each of these rounds? Am I constantly getting like caught in the air by a flash kick? Okay, how do I change that? Am I internalizing some of these things that I'm learning? And it felt really good to actually have that start to come up, even in that limited, long set. I'm just really excited for what's coming up next, and I'm probably going to try and play a lot more before the beta's up this weekend.
All right. I definitely want to hear more about that lovely game. Who have you been playing as? What's going on there? You said you playing against Guile. Who have you been playing as?
I've tried out a bit of Ken. I kind of want to try Luke a little bit more. I'm trying to see who else I might be interested in. I might even just like go a few sets with like random and see like what strikes me there. But yeah, overall, just getting accustomed for it. I'm already considering maybe getting like a fight pad for the PS5.
Here we go.
Just because like it's not that the DualSense feels like a bad controller to play this with, More so, I want to make sure I don't like damage my controller entirely by accident from just like button mashing and everything.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or shall we wrap this up?
Nah, man, let's take it to questions.
All right, if you want to send in a question like these fine folks right here, you can go to videogamechoo, CHOO.tumblr.com/ask. And you'll sound like these folks right here. Shulis asks, one of the most important questions of the year. What's your favorite new Pokemon for this gen? Do you have an overall favorite?
That's tough to pick. I'm still learning a lot about them. Like, there's not one in particular
pull up a picture of all of them, so I don't forget. Scrolling through them, see, because I'll be honest here. This game is like, I don't remember if I said this on the show, but I've definitely said it to my friends. Like, this is one of the best generations for Pokemon designs. Just straight up, in my opinion. Like, I don't think there's really a bad design in this entire game. Like, these are all at least serviceable. God, some of these are so good. Like fucking King Gambit. That's so good.
I like the not Tentacool.
Oh, what's it? Toadstool.
Yeah, Toadstool.
He's just running around like a freak. Yeah, Toadstool's great. Rainbow Gas is really good. Armarouge and Several Edge are fucking incredible. The Net Navi looking ones. Tandem Mouse and Mousehold are like all timers. Like, whoever came up with that is just pure genius.
Mastiff and Mabostiff are really solid.
They're really good. Like, they're simple, but they have so much personality.
Oh, Wattrel is a really nice idea. I have not seen much about Wattrel, but I like that.
Yeah, Wattrel's pretty, not really a super popular one, I would say, but I think I've seen some competitive folks using Kilowattrel here and there.
Squawkabilly, very solid.
Squawkabilly. I know this might be kind of a cop-out. Maybe. But I gotta be honest with you. Like, I used one in my playthrough, and it was just really fun to use. I gotta go with Dunsparce. Like, Dunsparce is... It's so funny that they just added more to Dunsparce. They just added more segments to it and called it a new Pokemon. And the fact that, like, people are legitimately mad at that is also very funny to me. I love it. I absolutely love Dunsparce.
I was thinking about this actually, though, that if I really have to think about it,
but yes,
I don't think that there is a Don Quixote equivalent in this generation. And you know that, like, my immediate thought process would be like a iteration of Excalibur or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that would have gone with Bisharp getting a new Evo too.
Potentially, I could easily see Farfetch'd like having it. If it was going to get its evolution in Galar, it probably would have gotten, like, you know, Flying Steel. Well,
it did.
Exactly, you know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't going to be then, like, this would have been the next best thing. You know, the Leak becomes a Lance. Right. You give it the whole setup. Dawn Fetched, no. Something along the lines, like...
Yeah.
Farmancha. There we go.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, just because, like, I think there's a lot of, like, material there that can still be worked on to an extent, but yeah, it was just like that one thing where it's like, oh wow, this was somehow left in the open, but it happens.
And then, how do you feel about the paradoxes? Do you have a favorite paradox, either past or future forms?
I haven't seen much of the paradoxes, honestly.
Okay.
Again, like, I know so little about this generation so far.
All right.
Part of it is like, I should probably just go pick it up while I got the time, but we'll see. I might do it like end of the year.
Wouldn't blame you, especially because they still have to patch it.
Yeah.
Well, then my favorite of the past ones is definitely Sandy Shocks, of course, because I am the big Magnemite family fan. But a close second is Screamtail, just because I love that they just gave Jigglypuff a big long tail, and then it's like, yeah, it screams, and it's very mean and wants to kill you. And then for the future ones, Iron Bundle, they made a robot Delibird, and it's so good that it's banned from competitive. Like, it's in Ubers. That's hilarious.
Wow.
That is hilarious. And I also like Iron Valiant as well, which is the like Mecha Gallade. I also do really like Roaring Moon too, which is the Salamence, because not only is it based on Salamence, it is also specifically based on Mega Salamence. So they didn't just completely ignore the past of the Megas. Like, they're just like, yeah, we have Mega Salamence influence in this. Like, that's cool. So yeah, I like a lot of the new Pokemon. This is a super strong generation, I feel. Again, I can't pick like a single Pokemon that I'm just like, oh, this sucks. Like, Cloth maybe is a little weak, but I also don't hate it still,
Like, for some people, that's already like doing so much.
Yeah. It's a silly crab. It's a rock crab. That's pretty good. Okay. Last question. If you want to send a question, go to videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com/ask. You sound like this. Cello Buster asks, oh, have you been a good little gamer this year? What do you want Gamer Santa to bring for you? First off, none of that, please. And please. Don't
That's
do this
no way
to me.
to talk to Gamer Santa. Show some respect.
Well,
man, I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
I already got the PS5. Like, you know what? Give me the Switch 2. Give me the Switch Pro. That's what I want.
I mean, yeah, if I'm just gonna ask, like, for like the gamer wish, it's maybe a little boring of a request, but I want retro games to be just a bit more cheaper. No, not a bit more. Fuck it. No, I'm doing this for the goodwill of humankind. I want it to be way cheaper. All right.
That's right.
If I could put that out there, yeah, we make it so we can all go out and buy some fucking retro games again. I don't care if my collection craters in value, because that's not what I want it for. I want it because I want to play games, and I want to be able to go out and buy games at a normal price from now on. That's what I want Gamer Santa to do. I want Gamer Santa to ride out on his fucking sleigh and sprinkle some magic Santa dust on price charting and make all the prices crash. That is what I want. That is what I believe we deserve, because, I mean, that's my gamer wish. Like, if I were to just make a wish for the world in general, like not just Gamer Santa, but just Santa in general, is like, fucking, like, it would basically be the same thing, except it would be healthcare, and it would be free instead of cheap. But we're talking to Gamer Santa here. I don't think Gamer Santa has any jurisdiction over real problems.
Unfortunately.
Yes, make retro games cheaper. Yes. Make retro games cheaper, or at the very least, everyone send me whatever retro games that you have that you don't want anymore. But don't do it if you're just like, oh, I like keep stuff that you love. But also, if you look at something and you're like, fuck this, I got a place for it on my shelf potentially. We'll figure it out. I want to do it for free. I buy stuff off of people. But yeah, there you go. Gamer Santa, thank you. That is my gamer's wish. All right, I guess that does it. Is there anything else you want to discuss before you send it home?
No, I think that's about it.
All right. Then same here. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. I guess I will just say that next weekend will be the holidays. It's not just Christmas. I think like Hanukkah is landing like right at the same time too. So yeah, I'm just gonna say we're not gonna let's just say we're not gonna do an episode. Let's just say it now. No episode next week. We're on break. It's the holidays. Let's not worry about it. Let's see what's up next time. No, I mean it'll be like New Year's time, so I think we should be okay by then. At the very least, one or two of us should be around to podcast. So yeah, no pod next week. After that, we'll figure it out. But thank you all for your patience and all that, and understanding for getting back up in the groove of things. And we're making moves. I don't want to say anything to jinx it, but things are happening. Things are moving forward. Let's see how things go. So, if you want to find our continued content, it's at VGCC as our Twitter. Right? Yeah. We have videogamechoochoo.tumblr.com. Tumblr. We have Facebook, facebook.com/videogamechoochoo. Have our YouTube, youtube.com/videogamechoochoo. We have our Twitch, twitch.tv/VGChoochoo. I think Scott will probably do some more stuff over the coming days and weeks. He likes to hop on there and have some fun. We have our Discord server, thegamezone.zone. Type that into your web browser and it'll bring you straight there. You can hang out with us and talk about all kinds of stuff. Keep up with what's going on. Especially all the stuff that we're posting on the actual website, videogamechoochoo.com, which I just realized I didn't mention until right now. And if you like what we're doing, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/VGCC. You can listen to our anime podcast, Unlimited Railworks, a whole week early. Plus, we have some exclusive stuff on there too, like our episode 100.5 for URW, where we did some rankings of podcast hosts, basically. That was fun. And thank you to Melt Channel/Magic Circuit for our theme song Crush off of the album Magic is Real. If you want to listen to their stuff, it's meltchannel.bandcamp.com or magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. Check them out anytime, but especially on Bandcamp Friday, first Friday of the month. They'll get a bigger cut. Always remember that. Maverick, where can people find you?
People can go ahead and find me on Twitter at MavsplaniaMania. That's at MavsplaniaMania. In terms of where I'm going to be at in the next 24 hours, as I mentioned, my friend Char over on Twitter at Charlahan is going to be doing a now 24-hour Pokemon stream in order to raise funds for their moving from just one spot in Toronto to another. So that's started at 2 p.m. earlier today. Will not be going until 2 p.m. of Sunday. So episode may be out after that. But then you can also see, not me directly, but a work of mine over on another friend's stream. The band No Jersey is going to be doing a live music video, showcase from local bands in the scene. That's going to be around 8 p.m. on Twitch. That should be twitch.tv/No Jersey. and on the website Bandnada, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So both options for just being able to see some good music, and that's going to be at around 8 p.m. on Sunday. Hopefully by then the website or the podcast will be out, but if not, hey, I'm still making stuff. You can read a lot of my reviews. I did a lot of those this year.
You did?
Like, surprisingly a lot. I like, one of the things I did want to make sure is like, oh, let me try and like get some more of these out. And so I'm glad that I was able to.
And if you want to follow me, it's at JOHN_MICHONSKI on Twitter. That's it. I don't know, I'm doing stuff here and there. Nothing too crazy, but doing stuff. And that will do it. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll be back next week. Or no, we won't. We'll be back sometime soon for another episode of the Video Game Choo Choo podcast. Thank you so much. See ya.